In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to buy a home in a seller's market. Now, we all know that multiple offers is a really difficult period for buyers. The emotions run high, it's a property you want, and you've got lots of competition. And after you've gone through that process a few times and not won the bid, you may want to give up. You might want to say, I'll wait till it's no longer this much of a shortage of homes. There'll be a better market coming. Well, my belief is that's doubtful, because there's such a shortage of housing overall. The desirable homes are the desirable homes, and there aren't enough new homes being built to relieve that shortage. So the seller's market is likely to continue for a while. So here's the advice I think you need to have your best chance at winning. The first thing you need to do is make sure your finances are in order. You need to be working with a reputable mortgage broker. Better to have one locally who's known, and one with whom you've shared your documents and who can indeed explain how you're going to qualify for this loan. If you're an all-cash buyer, great. About 30% of the homes being sold these days are cash offers. You do want to have a letter that shows that you have the proof of funds available in liquid form to perform on this offer. And a third option is, if you don't qualify for conventional financing, there are companies, and I'm a preferred agent with Trio. It's one of the companies that will buy on your behalf the home that you select. They're operating in California, and then you lease from them for 3 to 5 years while you're paying a higher rent than you normally would, but you're putting money towards your down payment, and you're saving and building your credit so that over a period of time you're able to qualify for conventional financing and you buy it back from Trio. The next thing you need to have is your requirements have to be clear. You and your agent need to be understanding what locations you're going to be wanting to buy in, what size of property, what size of home, how many bedrooms, what kind of quality, what kind of condition is acceptable for you. Get those requirements into a search and see what comes up. Go test those homes, see the ones that come up. Don't expect to buy the first one that comes up. Make sure you have market knowledge. As a buyer and as an agent, you ought to be together on what constitutes a home that is a good value when it shows up on your search. And then you better be quick to act. When you see a home coming new on the market, if it doesn't say when the offers are due by, it's urgent that you get there as quickly as possible, and then if you like it, write your offer as quickly as possible. If you've got a due by date about a week out, still get an appointment early, get to see that home and decide whether you want to bid in a competitive situation on a desirable home that meets your criteria. Now, preparing the kind of offer that is going to be accepted, you need to put your best foot forward. The best price that you can offer, often it's going to be above asking, but you want to be competitive. You don't want to necessarily win it outright. You want to be considered in the top 2 or 3 offers that they do receive. It's best that you understand what the seller requirements are. Are they anxious to move quickly? Is it wanting to be a short sale? Or do they need time after they sell it to you? Are you willing to offer a rent back? Are you willing to accommodate the seller's interests? Can you shorten up inspection periods? Yes, you can. The standard is 17 days on our forms, but I've seen plenty of times where 10 days is enough to know whether you want to go forward. You can assure in the agreement that you're not going to be asking for a price reduction if you find some problems with a used home. There always are. You don't want to nickel and dime that seller. You want to make the decision, oh, these are significant foundation problems, I'm not buying, I'm taking my out. Or if you recognize that this home isn't likely to have these hidden problems of a big foundation problem, big plumbing, old electrical problem, then you may waive the inspection. I don't recommend it, but in terms of winning the offer, that goes a long way to being considered the top offer. Your loan approval period might be shortened as well, but if you need a loan, you need that loan approval contingency. If you don't need a loan, you can waive the appraisal contingency. A cash buyer doesn't really need an appraiser to come back and tell them that the winning offer is a market offer in these 2 days. On all offers, you're going to put down an earnest money deposit. The standard in this area is 3%, which also happens to be the maximum that the law allows for liquidated damages. There's a paragraph in the agreement that you initial that accepts liquidated damages, meaning that the most that if you don't perform on your offer that you can lose is 3% of the selling price. But that doesn't mean you can't put down a deposit of more than that. If you put a deposit of 5% down, that's one area you're going to stand out, and it shows the seller that you're really serious about this house. Another thing you might want to consider to put with the offer is what we call a love letter, where you explain about your situation, why you want to have this home in this area, and what it would mean to you. That might touch the heart of the seller who is looking at your offer and maybe a slightly stronger offer of a corporation buying the home so they can rent it out. The seller might prefer to give it to a family for whom it means much more to live here than an investor. If you were involved in the original set of offers and were not selected, that's the time to ask the listing agent if you can be considered for a backup offer. The second broad strategy is looking off market. Now here it's even more important that you have your financing in order and that you have flexibility in what you're able to purchase. You need to be real clear on your requirements, because you're now going to be in a situation where you, the buyer, are going to be marketed by the agent to home buyers who aren't necessarily on the market right now. Here, more than a love letter, you really want a profile of who you are, what your financial situation is, what you're looking for, and what you're ready to buy. And you make this case, and I make that case as your agent for you, then I can approach people who aren't on the market but may be ready to sell. The obvious candidates are the for sale by owners who are trying to save commission. It may be expireds who once were listed as active and then for one reason or another did not sell. Most likely it was priced too high, but they are approachable because they once wanted to sell, maybe got discouraged, and now may be the time to approach them again. And the last category are homeowners who haven't shown any indication yet of wanting to sell. But if I were to approach them with a qualified buyer like you, with the details in a profile that says this is what you're looking for and this is what you're willing to pay for this kind of a home in this kind of a neighborhood, then they might be persuaded that yes, indeed, they could sell. If you can wait, even better. We can approach a seller on the basis of now you can take your time to find the place that you're going to go to next. Oftentimes people have not put their home on the market and they'll say, I would sell if I could buy, but because I can't buy homes in this market, I'm not going to sell. So ability to have the seller rent back from you, and you're really trying to make it as easy as possible and convenient as possible for the seller to accept your offer. That way you can lock in a deal and then you can wait to actually take possession of that home after you've closed and after the rent back, etc. Approaching owners who are not on the market is something every agent should be willing to do, but many don't know how to do. Well, I do. I know the kinds of owners, those that have been renting out as a rental for income for like 10, 15 years, may be tired of doing the managing of an income property and might be ready to sell, especially if they're vacant, especially if it's on the market to rent right now. It might be something where the seller would consider. Also, there are seniors. Marketing to people over 65 are often in a situation where this home is no longer suitable for them. There are too many stairs, it's too much to clean, it's too much house. They might be ready to sell, haven't wanted to put it on the market because, again, they don't know where to go, but approached in the right way, they might be willing to sell. Or if you're really clear on the neighborhood you want to live in, and all the homes here, or most of the homes here, would be suitable for you, writing the letter about that neighborhood, I'd be more than happy to go door to door to talk to owners about what are their plans and whether they would consider selling to a family like yours who is anxious to move here. Off-market matchmaking can happen, and it can match up the requirements of the seller and the requirements of the buyer without the haste and rush that an on-market transaction usually is about. It can be a much calmer, less stressful situation, and meeting the needs of the seller is so important. Not burdening them with a commission. I being paid to represent the buyer by the buyer takes a huge pressure off a lot of sellers. So that's a strategy that does work, and it can work very well in a seller's market. In summary, what's really important in buying in a seller's market is being creative, using all avenues for reaching out to owners, those that are actively selling on the MLS and those that may not even know that they're ready to sell. But approach the right way, they might just be able to sell to you in a way where there's no competition and you land the home of your dreams in the neighborhood where you want to live.